my grandfather, I have a bit of a history with my family because my grandfather owned a few nightclubs in Chicago back in the 60s and 70s.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, and I didn't really know much about it growing up because he passed away when my dad was 14 years old. So I never met him, but I heard some stories, and as I got older, I learned more and more.
So he must have had some mob ties if he owned a nightclub back in the 50s and 60s, like either having to pay them off in some way or that's my basic understanding of how the mob works. You own a nightclub and they come in and they're like, you owe us $2,000 this month for letting you operate in our vicinity. And then you're like, here you go. And they're like, thanks. See you next month.
Yeah. So it's funny you say that because he was actually extremely vocal about his non-affiliation with the mob throughout his business. Like,
oh shit.
I mean, of course,
so he was a target. You
can't own a business without like having respect from them. I don't really know how he maneuvered it, but he was very vocal about the fact that he was not like paying off the mob. And so my uncle actually recently, for the past like 10 years, has been working on this project where he released a documentary about my grandfather. And
really?
it was a business owned by my grandfather and his brother. It's called Mr. Kelly's.
Mr. Kelly's.
Yeah.
Can people stream it right now?
Yeah, you can stream it on Amazon. It's called Live at Mr. Kelly's.
Live at Mr. Kelly's. I'm gonna check it out.
It's really fascinating history. He had people like Aretha Franklin, Barbara Streisand, Bill Cosby. I know we don't love Bill Cosby anymore.
Oh yeah, but back in the what was this? You said 50s and 60s he started. So Bill Cosby was like he was a young comedian, and no one knew what he was. He had eyes on him, and I assume if you could book him as a nightclub, that was like, fuck yeah, like we're gonna get people coming out tonight. Yeah,
they booked the best of the best of talent. They would fly to New York, and they created a stage in Chicago for artists who normally wouldn't have that stage. And specifically, their nightclubs, Mr. Kelly's was one of the only nightclubs that black performers could have a stage at back then. Black performers, women, who didn't have that stage back then, and Mr. Kelly's allowed for that. So that was something that they always really championed. And that's kind of what has driven my passion for social impact and merging it with music, because seeing how successful and how impactful that platform was back then is something that like has really inspired me, and I want to continue that legacy.
Yeah, you have social events and partying for good built into your bloodstream.
Exactly.
That's something in your gene pool, and something that I've experienced as a friend and a fellow partier at Benny Presents events of the wild nights that you curate, and then also having a portion of the proceeds go to a good cause. And so it's really cool to hear about your uncle who was curating events back in the day.
Grandfather. Uncle made the documentary.
Okay, Uncle made the documentary. Yeah. Grandfather was the nightclub host back in Chicago. It's cool to hear about your grandfather making those events happen, bringing people together back in the day, and then also making it a place that black performers could come and women could come and perform when they weren't able to get stage time at most other places. That's really cool.
It's important because art is meant to be shared with everybody. So, and that my dad always, I didn't know much about my grandpa growing up, but my dad always said that whether it was the performers or whether it was his employees, he instilled it in my dad and in his entire business that you treat everybody with respect, no matter who they are.
Yeah. That's probably a big reason why he was able to operate outside of the mob and then also survive, is that the mob had his respect in some way, and he gave respect for the mob, even if he didn't agree with what they were doing. He might have, I have no idea, but if I'm running a business like that and there's an entity that could come in and crush you whenever they wanted. They could come in and make life hell for you. You don't have to agree with what they're telling you to do. You don't have to give in to what they're telling you to do, but you should at least be somewhat likable and have a mutual likability, because it's for your own benefit and for their benefit too. And then try to understand where that group is coming from, even if it's doing illegal shit and it's doing a lot of harm to people. There's a way that they operate, and there's a way that your grandfather was able to operate and make that work and keep curating experiences for people.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I think that the respect that I don't know how he did it. You're right. Like, it must have been tough because it's the mob, but showing respect and I guess being like a mediator of like, you don't have to agree with everybody, but you can still understand them. And I think that's a good lesson in life in general. Like, I try, it's hard to like have your opinions and disagree with people while also agreeing with all, like, it's hard to like stay true to yourself when you disagree with people, but it's important to appreciate other people's viewpoints.
Hey guys, this is a quick reminder to check out AUXORO Premium, the best deal in premium podcasting. On AUXORO Premium, you gain access to bonus episodes, the unlicensed therapy series, the ability to submit topic suggestions for the podcast, exclusive Ask Me Anything episodes, and the entire premium catalog for only $5 per month. Go to auxoro.supercast.com, that's AUXORO.supercast.com, to join the premium gang today.